In today's episode, we'll be talking about 5 strategies to create effective videos for your online courses, even if you don't want to be on camera.
Welcome to the Online Course Coach Podcast, brought to you by TrueFocusMedia.com. Whether you're a beginner or expert, this is the podcast for the latest in online course creation tips, news, interviews, and ideas. And here's your coach, Jeff Long.
Welcome back to another episode of the Online Course Coach Podcast. Again, my name is Jeff Long, your coach, your teacher, your helper here today for this podcast. And so I know that you as the audience, you have different needs. Some of you, you're just starting out, you don't have a course. And so you're trying to learn, what you need to, maybe some of the basics of what you need to put in your course. And then others of you have a course already or an audience, and you need to leverage that with either better course content or creating an awesome course for your audience. And so today I want to talk about something that I think really spans the gap, because no matter what you're doing with online courses, you obviously have to have video content. But a lot of times people don't want to be on camera. They're shy, intimidated. Maybe they don't have all the technology. But here are 5 strategies to create effective videos for your online courses, even if you don't want to be on camera. And right before we jump into that, I have an upcoming free mini course that I'm giving away starting October 26th. So if you're listening to this before October 26th, you can get more information and sign up by going to easyvideoforcourses.com. That's EASEY, easyvideoforcourses.com. Sign up to get on the wait list if you are doing this before October 26th. And then if you're listening to this after October 26th, just go to Easy Video for Courses to learn more. Now, this free mini course, I'm only going to make it available for about a week and a half or 2. So, just be aware of that, but it is going to be packed with awesome content. So again, if you want that mini course, and we'll be talking about things like how to create effective videos in half the time, as well as some of the rookie mistakes I see people make. And then the third video is all about my recommended faster, smarter, cheaper tools and resources to create videos for your courses in half the time. And we have some surprise fun giveaways and contests. I have about $800 worth of prizes that I'll be giving away at the end of that mini course there. So even if you're just interested or thinking, hey, you might win one of the prizes, so check that out. Go to easyvideoforcourses.com and check it out. The good thing about this free mini course that I'm releasing, while it's all about videos for your online courses, and I know since you are all interested in online courses, that this video series, this mini course will be really applicable to you. But the side benefit is I'll be teaching strategies and things that will help you with other types of videos. So whether it's marketing videos, sales videos, things like that, you can use these same principles outside of your online course videos, which is really cool. All right, so let's jump right into the content here today. And for those of you that have been listening for a while, you know that my background is not just in education, technology development, website development, but it has a foundation in video production. And so I've been doing video since 2003. I have worked with people like Dan Miller, Zig Ziglar Company, Kerry Wilkerson of the Barefoot Executive, as well as Fortune 500 companies. So I have worked with, famous CEOs to entrepreneurs to normal people, like maybe some of you and myself. When I say normal, I mean we're not in front of the camera a lot or at all, and it can be intimidating. So let's talk about these 5 strategies to create effective videos for your online courses, even if you don't want to be on camera. And that's the part I really want to hammer home, because I'm in that same boat. I don't love getting in front of the camera. It takes work, it takes thought, it takes preparation. However, I know it's effective. I know it's a better way to teach my audience and help the people that I'm coaching, help them be more effective in their courses. So The first strategy to create effective videos for your online courses, even if you don't want to be on camera, is get on camera without feeling like you're on camera. So you might say, okay, well, how do I get on camera without feeling like I'm getting on camera? So let's break this into chunks. So the first thing is, get your mind off of, oh no, I'm in front of the camera. Maybe there's lights, or maybe there's even other people that are watching. Who knows? So conduct a demonstration. Think like a cooking show isn't a lecture. It's not that they're just straight teaching you about how to, create, or bake or cook this amazing meal. They're showing you. And I find that a lot of people, especially if you are an expert in your field, most of us get passionate. We get excited about what we're knowledgeable about. And so it's easy to teach. And so if you can do a demonstration, if you can showcase something, that is going to make it a lot easier than just feeling like you have to stand up, look at that scary camera with that blinking light, and just talk. So forget the camera. How would you build a demonstration? Well, you would start at, take a cooking show, for example. You start out with just the ingredients, and you kind of talk about, hey, in today's lesson, we're going to talk about how to bake this amazing recipe. And you walk through some of the ingredients that you're going to need. And so you have, them pre-measured out, of course. And then you go into the actual creation of that content here today. You're dumping things in, you're frying, you're sizzling, you're doing all the actions of baking or creating or cooking that recipe. And then you show the desired outcome. You say, hey, I just happen to have one of these in the oven, and you pull it out. And then you start eating it and showing, how ooey gooey or how yummy or how whatever it is, some of the benefits that make your mouth water. You show some of that. So when you're thinking of your online course videos, think of it as a demonstration. And it does help me to think of it as a cooking show. And I can kind of move sequentially through that same outline or through that same structure. So again, the first strategy I recommend to create effective videos for your online courses is to try to get on camera without feeling like you're on camera. So the first bullet point there was to conduct a demonstration. The second one is to do an interview with an expert. And this takes pressure off of you. If you have a course partly based on interviewing experts, it is easier. But I don't want to give the impression that it's faster or that you should be lazy. I guess that's the word. You should definitely prepare and plan and have the right questions to ask that expert to really draw out their expertise and apply it to your students or to your audience. So if you're nervous about being on camera, think about doing an interview with another expert. And then reversing that is maybe have somebody ask you or interview you with questions and have it be more conversational. So they could be off camera, just like you see with a lot of news interviews. When somebody interviews the president, for the most part, that person is off camera. It's interviewing the president, and then the president's on camera. Or you could have both of you on camera and, switch back and forth. And so if you are thinking of doing that, check out the Mevo camera, MEVO. It's really good. Shoots in, I believe, 4K resolution, and you can switch back and forth pretty easily between different people. So if the idea of interviewing somebody else isn't feasible or possible, you could have somebody interview you. That might be really fun. And with that, you could even ask your students for their top questions, whether that's filling out a survey. So you send them a survey and say, hey, what do you want to know? Or you might just ask them, say, hey, what's your biggest struggle? What do you need help with? And then you can answer those questions. And that could be in the form of, frequently asked questions, or you just, read their questions. That might be effective. Now, I don't recommend that for every lesson, for every module, but we're just going over some different ideas that you can pepper in throughout your course. And then the last item under this topic of getting in front of the camera without feeling like you're in front of the camera is do like a picture-in-picture video with your PowerPoint slides. So it might be that you have, picture-in-picture. So the larger image is of the PowerPoint, and then you have a web camera and you are in smaller frame there in the lower, right or left-hand corner, probably right corner. Now, why do I think you should be on camera? Well, it builds credibility. It allows your audience and your students to know, like, and trust you. And so I think there are huge benefits to having audio, like this podcast. You might be raking your leaves, you might be mowing, shoveling. I don't know what time of the season you're listening to this to. You might be running, you might be washing dishes, you might just be in the car. So there is a benefit to that. However, with an online course, and we've talked about this in other episodes, I think there's tremendous value and there's a weightiness or a thump factor, as Dan Miller calls it, of value that video brings. It just seems more professional. It has been shown to help students learn better. And so I think it is better overall. So I just come in with that expectation that you'll be using video, at least in some of your courses. It doesn't have to be in all of them, but in most of your courses. So I recommend you getting in front of the camera a couple, let's say you have a 10 course lesson, 10 lesson course, you might get in front of the camera 3 to 5 times type of thing. All right, so number 2 is have fun with it. This is the second strategy to create effective videos for your online courses. So take the pressure off yourself. Make jokes, sing songs, be silly, and it's okay if you mess up a little bit. In fact, it shows you're a real person. So if you say a couple ums and ahs, or if you stumble or stutter, it's not the end of the world. Let's go back to the cooking show example. If you are watching one of the morning talk shows or whatever, you'll see that occasionally they mess up, and that's okay. Now, if you're giving incorrect information, that's a different thing. But if you, say something that, I don't know, wasn't, maybe you went off on a tangent or something, you can either edit that out or you can leave it in, and it's not a big deal. So think of how to make it more lighthearted, more engaging. Maybe some of the stories you tell or the examples you give are a little more humorous or less serious. We don't always have to give examples of something that's super serious. We can be a lot more fun with that. Now, with that, some personality types, want to have all the words written out. And if that's you, I understand that. I kind of struggle with that too. I want to know, I want to write out exactly what I want to say. And so it helps me to, have that written out. But generally, most people don't do well with using a teleprompter. It looks like they're reading, it sounds like they're reading, and it's just not believable. So what I do is I write out my main points and I tape it near the camera. And so I make sure that I'm not reading the bullet points because the audience can see. They can look at your eyes and see your eyes go, away from looking at them and down or over to looking at the notes. So that's why I think, having your main bullet points really helps because even if you're an expert, you do need some of those reminders. And so that is what I recommend. So number 2, have fun with it. Take the pressure off yourself. Do jumping jacks or run around or, when you're recording those videos or that content, just, flail your arms around, walk around, take a brisk walk outside and get loose. Another thing you might want to consider when you're having fun with it is maybe you drink a little coffee, drink a little caffeine. You're feeling good. You're a little more excited, a little more amped up than you normally would. Don't go overboard with that because if you are just acting crazy, you might lose a little bit of your credibility, but you know what to do with your own self there. The third strategy to create effective videos for your online courses, even if you don't want to be on camera, is use the camera you have. Don't be afraid to try using your iPhone, your Android phone. Those are really good phones. And that's what you generally have in your pocket or near you at all times. So a couple things with filming with your iPhone, and we'll talk about this in future episodes, is, iPhone video for courses type of thing, is use a tripod. So they make tripod clamps or holders that hold your phone. Because obviously you don't want to hold, the phone at arm's length in selfie mode and be talking for, 10 to 15 minutes for each video. Your arms are going to get tired. It's going to get shaky. And then your students will probably not like that a whole lot. So definitely use a tripod. The second thing you want to make sure is you have a microphone. So you can, if you're kind of in budget mode or cheap mode, you can just use the microphone that's built into the phone. But what I recommend is having a microphone that you can plug in. And I'll put links to those items that I recommend in the show notes of this podcast. All right, the fourth strategy I recommend to create effective videos for your online courses is start with simple and cheap editing software. People sometimes think, oh, I've got to buy the latest and greatest and really blow the doors open on this thing and buy Adobe Premiere annual license. Just start with what you have. So if you have iMovie, use that. If you have iMovie for your phone or computer, or if you have Windows Movie Maker, start with that. You can even use your screen capture software like ScreenFlow or Camtasia to edit. And that might be fine, and that might be all you need, and you don't need to spend hundreds of dollars on software. You might even check out Premiere Elements, which is a cheaper alternative to Premiere Pro. And Premiere is what I use for a lot of our video projects, or I should say all of our video projects. It's a professional grade video editing application that's good, but don't feel like you have to start with the expensive stuff first. Start off with the cheaper stuff as you build your audience. And as you do have that audience, yes, invest in the tools that will make your workflow faster. So if you don't have ScreenFlow or Camtasia, definitely get that for screen capture. If you are editing videos, you can do that in ScreenFlow or iMovie. Or if you feel like you need something more robust, you might want to try out Premiere in what's called Creative Cloud. So you pay a monthly subscription. And so you might want to pay that for a month and just see how it is. I think they have a trial. Maybe it's a 14-day trial. You can check that out. All right, so let's go to the fifth strategy to create effective videos for your online courses, even if you don't want to be on camera, is don't underestimate the experience and expertise and value that you provide. I find that a lot of people that I coach, they're hesitant or they don't know that they're going to make it. And I always say, well, are you an expert in your field? And do you have people asking you questions? Or are you able to answer the questions that you find most people are asking? And if that's the case, you might want to consider creating an online course. And so don't underestimate the value, the expertise that you provide. And so just, I find it helpful to envision my ideal student that I'm talking to. And it's not the person that's been doing it for 30 years more than me. It's the person that I've been doing it for a decade or a year or 5 years longer than them. And it's not that I'm better than them. I just have more experience. I have more things that I've tried through trial and error, and I can teach them. So envision your student. Who are you talking to? A lot of times that will help put you at ease when you are on camera or doing your online course content. It helps if you envision your student and you can just know, hey, I'm just teaching this one person. You don't have to envision hundreds of people or people that you think might be judging you, because to be honest, they're not going to judge you. They want to learn. They voluntarily paid for your course or are taking it for free, and they want that information. They're begging you for it. So make sure to give them that course content. All right, so let's review the 5 strategies to create effective videos for your online courses, even if you don't want to be on camera. Number 1, get on camera without feeling like you're on camera. We talked about the cooking show and some other examples. Number 2, have fun with it. Make jokes, give examples, give stories. Number 3, use the camera you have. So you might want to experiment with your iPhone or smartphone. Number 4, start with simple and cheap editing software. And number 5, don't underestimate the expertise that you provide. All right, so which one of these do you think helps you the most? I'd love to find out. Leave a comment in the show notes or tweet with me. You can tweet at me at Jeff_Long. It's been awesome talking with a lot of you there. Just let me know which one of these strategies you feel like you'll use the most. I'm sure it's all of them, right? But maybe it's just one. And let me know what your thoughts are on that. And then don't forget the upcoming free mini course starting on October 26th of this year. You can go to easyvideoforcourses.com, and that mini course will be available through early November. So check that out. And again, in that mini course, we'll be talking about how to create effective videos for your online courses in half the time. We'll also be talking about the 7 rookie mistakes I see people make with their online course videos and how to fix them. And then we'll also talk about my 15 plus faster, smarter, cheaper tools to create not just online course videos, but we'll also talk about some of the software, the tools, the recommended resources to build your courses as well. And like I said at the beginning, I have over $800 worth of prizes that I'll be giving away. I've contacted a lot of these companies that have these resources, websites, and services, and we'll be giving away heavy discounts as well as a ton of free stuff. A lot of them, or most of them, are free, whether it's licenses or items that they're providing. So they're very gracious, they're very kind. So I'll briefly talk about what we're giving away in the first 2 videos, and then in the third video, I'll go through in detail what we're giving away as we talk about each item. So stay tuned for that. It'll be a lot of fun. And don't forget the strategies that I'll be teaching you in this mini course. While they're all about videos for your online courses, the content, the strategies are definitely transferable for other types of videos you do. So it could be your Facebook Live videos or some of your marketing videos or webinars. You can use most of these principles for your other video content. Well, that's all for today's show. Hey, I really want to thank you for listening to the show. The one thing you can do for me is share this out. Share it on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever you think somebody would find value. So maybe that's sending them an email. And so if you're like me, I listen on my phone all the time. Just hit that share button and send it out. That's what I'm doing with some of the podcasts I listen to. And then I tag the podcast person there as well, and just let them know, hey, I really appreciate what you said in that podcast. So I would be honored if you would do the same thing. All right, well, keep coming back to the show. Keep listening. Keep giving that feedback. I love that interaction, some of the questions and comments and updates of what you're creating, what you're learning. That really helps me and motivates me to keep creating these podcasts because I know that you're listening, that so many of you are taking action. So keep up the good work. We'll keep coming back to the Online Course Coach podcast, where it is truly my goal to help you to teach your audience that will impact millions.